To continue in our discussion this morning about drunk drivers, we'd like to hear your story.
I'm Jean Heald. Our son, Christopher Heald, was hit September 30th, 1980. In that accident, 4 people were injured, including the drunk driver. Our son was in shock trauma for a long time. He was in the hospital for 6 months, is still under medical care. He is crippled and suffered severe brain damage. The driver of the car that knocked my son's car 50 feet off the road was taken to the hospital because he was unconscious. At that time, blood was naturally drawn. He did have a high blood alcohol level. At the time of the trial, that evidence was not allowed in.
Why not?
Because the blood had been not done at the state toxicology lab, and because the man was unconscious, he could not give consent for the taking of the test of blood to determine the blood alcohol level. The amount was over 0.20. At the trial, the judge still determined that he had been driving and had been drinking and had crossed the center line, and found him guilty. I've forgotten exactly what he was guilty of. He was fined $300. He was driving without insurance. For that, the Department of Motor Vehicles fined him $100. His license was suspended for 30 days after 6 months after the trial. Even though the Department of Motor Vehicles had been notified that he did not have driving insurance, they did not get around to acting on the case until 10 months after they had been notified.
Which is
that man is still out driving. His record goes back from almost the day that he got his driver's license.
We certainly don't want to cut you off. We've got 5 minutes left and a lot of people that still want to talk. How do you just feel about this?
I think it's wrong that they're allowed to continue to drive. I think it's wrong that I have to pay so much insurance. The law says he could have been fined $1,000 for not driving with insurance. He was only fined $100. The law says his license could have been revoked, yet it was not. The law says it could have been revoked and suspended for a longer length of time, and it wasn't.
It's enough to make you mad.
Thank you very much. Hello, you're on People Are Talking. Good morning.
Morning, Richard. I'm a tavern owner.
Yes, go ahead, caller. Don't listen to your TV, and you have about 30 seconds to give us your
Richard,
message.
I'm a tavern owner, and from our point of view...
Okay, we have a problem there because she did not turn her TV down, and we're not able to hear from her because she kept getting confused. So we'll go right back to the floor. And why don't you tell us who you are, please, if you will?
Good morning, Richard. My name is Louis Cariello, and this is my daughter, Courtney.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
And I'd like, if I may, for a second, talk about your court.
All right, I tell you what, why don't you stand, if you will, go to the other side so you can get closer to that microphone because we're having a...
All right.
If you can sort of just get a little, kneel down just a little bit next to Courtney so we can hear from you. Yeah, you know, to tell us
All
what
the way down?
No, sir. Right there, just closer to the mic so we can hear you.
Sure. In the court, in our particular case, I'd like to say something simply because it took months for the case to appear, and when we finally did appear in court, it took all of 8 minutes for the judge to go through the entire procedure and find the defendant guilty, but fined him money, a suspended sentence, and told him to go to driver's school. The witnesses that were involved were all present, including my daughter. Not one witness was called. And as a matter of fact, the assistant state's attorney couldn't even read the charges because, in my opinion, he'd never read them before. So that really the preparation for the cases in court, or in that particular court, I should say lower courts, is sadly wanting.
Where was that court specifically?
I was in the city court down on Madison Street.
What happened, Courtney, the accident? Can you tell us?
Yes, I was involved in an accident right off of 41st Street. I got into the vehicle not knowing that the driver was intoxicated at the time. As we were driving down the road, he began to swerve, and there was also a policeman following us, and he panicked when he saw the policeman. He would not pull over. Myself and another passenger asked him several times, over and over again, please pull over, there is a policeman following you. It was like he was in another world. He just didn't want to hear anything we had to say. We were heading straight for a telephone pole, and there was not a thing I could do about it. You know, it was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. It was terrible.
What happened to you?
I broke my back, and I'm paralyzed from the waist down.
Is that permanent, do you know, sir?
I hope not. We're taking her to further hospital. We're taking her to the Shriners Hospital this week in Pennsylvania for additional treatment, and hopeful that she'll get some more return. One thing, Richard, this particular defendant not only had one count against him, he had 7 counts against him with a driving record as long as my arm, and he was still cut loose. Judge gave him another chance.
Well, Courtney, we certainly do wish you the best of luck at that hospital.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing that story with us.
So in the final minute, what do you say to the people that are watching today, to the legislators who have not gone to Annapolis yet, who I'm sure are watching this show today? What do you want us to do so people like Courtney aren't hurt again?
Get involved, please do. It is not one man, one person cannot do this. It takes a lot of great people to work at this, and you've got to get involved. We are not a temperance movement. We are just an awareness. We don't want them drunk behind the wheels. That is our main objective.
Tom's got his fingers ready.
My message is to Governor Hughes and all the state legislators in Annapolis, and that is, you can hear and see that this is the #1 concern of citizens in this state, is to get drunk drivers off the road. Stop playing political games, and let's get down and do something, please.
All right. We have some telephone numbers on your screen as we thank the Sextons for being on. If you want to contact Matt in the Baltimore area, the number is 668-3343. In the Washington, D.C. area, you can dial 301-464-1842. Thank you both, and thank all of you who took part in this show. We hope it accomplished something. We'll be back in just a minute.
We certainly hope that you learned something from the show. We thank all of you for sharing your stories with us, and we'll see you next time.
On People Are Talking. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye. Don't go away. Oprah and I will be right back to tell you about the next People Are Talking and to make our last Dialing for Dollars call.